Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Nekroz Yugioh deck profile for post Battles of Legends Monster Mayhem. We got some awesome new Nekroz cards in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set, including the new boss monster Nekroz of Metaltron. The different variants for the Nekroz monsters are always fun to see because the Nekroz use the armor and basically the essence of the different monsters to wear as new armor for these characters. We've gotten some new support, including a new Mirror ritual spell, along with some other main deck monsters, along with our new ritual boss monster, to run alongside all of the additional support for the Nekroz deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for our boss monster, we're running one copy of Nekroz of Metaltron. The pendulum scale effect of this card is if your Nekroz card is banished face up, except during the damage step, you can target one spell or trap on the field, banish it. You can only use this effect of Nekroz of Metaltron once per turn, and you can ritual summon this card with any Nekroz ritual spell. It must be ritual summoned using monsters, and you cannot use level 9 monsters. During the main phase quick effect, you can target one face up monster your opponent controls, banish this card until the end phase, and if you do, banish that monster. You can only use this effect of Nekroz of Metaltron once per turn. Any monster destroyed by battle with your Nekroz monster is banished. So added protection for your Nekroz cards, making use of Metaltron's own banish plays, along as enacting the banish for any battle with your other Nekroz monsters, with some of those bigger boss monsters being the one copy of Nekroz of Trishula, the one copy of Nekroz of Arid Bar, and also the one copy of Nekroz of Decisive Armor that we run in the deck. Also, just like I said, the bigger boss monsters to run, having the banish options for the use of Trishula. When a card or effect is activated, you can quick effect discard this card, negate the activation, and when it's ritual summon, you can banish exactly 3 of your opponent's cards, one each from the hand, field, or graveyard. The Nekroz of Arid Bar, having the option to discard this card, tribute up to 2 Nekroz monsters from your hand and or field, and send that many Nekroz cards from your deck to the graveyard for added setup. And then when a monster effect is activated, being able to tribute one monster from your hand or field, negate the activation, and banish that card. And then the added attack boost along with the boosted attack power of Nekroz of Decisive Armor. For more search power in the deck, because the Nekroz cards also do focus on discard power, we're running 3 copies of Nekroz of Brionac. You can ritual summon this card with any Nekroz ritual spell, and also without using Nekroz of Brionac. And you can discard this card to add one Nekroz monster from your deck to your hand, except for Nekroz of Brionac. And you can target up to 2 face-up monsters on the field that were special summoned from the extra deck and shuffle them into the deck. So being able to have the search on top of the shuffle back power gives it a very Brionac-esque kind of card effect, and then being able just to make use of the search power for any of the other Nekroz one-of rituals that we also run in the deck. I'm also trying out 3 copies of Nekroz of Valkyris. Just call it more of a protection type of card. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish one Nekroz card from your graveyard and discard this card, negate the attack, and end the battle phase. So once again, just extra protection as an additional hand trap in the deck. And during the main phase, you can tribute up to 2 monsters from your hand and or field. If you do, draw the same number of cards you tributed. So added power for that tribute, depending on what you tributed using Nekroz of Valkyris. But the big play is obviously the defensive capabilities that this card can provide against your opponent. And then also the 2 copies of Nekroz of Clausalis and the 1 copy of Unicorn. Unicorn being able to stop the card effects of special summon monsters from the extra deck, the added protection of Clausalis. If you wanted to try a 2-in-1 count, so 2 copies of Nekroz of Unicorn and 1 copy of Clausalis, you could always try that out for the added numbers in these particular spots in the deck also. With our new main deck monsters, I do want to run 3 copies of Amelia Dance Priestess of Nekroz. I have 1 Shirt Strategist of Nekroz as a placeholder for this monster in the deck. If you ritual summon exactly 1 Nekroz ritual monster with a card effect that requires use of monsters, this card you control can be used as the entire tribute. You can only use each of the following effects of Amelia once per turn. If you have a warrior Nekroz monster on your field or graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If it's no more special summon, you can add 1 Nekroz ritual monster or 1 Nekroz ritual spell from your deck to your hand. So not only does it count as added setup for Shirt, requiring the exact option for the tribute of your Nekroz ritual, it also gives you search power for a particular card. Just being able to utilize a big majority of the Nekroz playstyle, and if you have that Nekroz warrior monster in your graveyard, special summoning out this card and still being able to get that search also. 3 copies additionally of Avance, Swordsman of Nekroz. Once again, 1 short, just have a shirt for the placeholder here. If you ritual summon exactly 1 Nekroz ritual, it could be the entire tribute with this card. And when it's normal summon, you can special summon 1 Nekroz monster from your deck, except for Avance, Swordsman of Nekroz. And if this card is tribute by card effect, you can add any number of banished Nekroz cards with different names to your hand. So the added back power for that makes use with some of our other cards mentioned in the deck as well, including the banished cards that we used off of Nekroz of Valkyris, with the last of the one-ofs for our Nekroz cards being the 1 Aerial Priestess and the 1 Shirt Strategist of Nekroz. The added tribute for these cards and then the added search power for a Warrior Nekroz Ritual Monster off of Shirt comes in handy as well, being able to add those additional Warrior Nekroz cards that we run from our deck to our hand, which don't forget we have the added discard for a search and a Nekroz Spell Trap off of the Nekroz of Clazolis, and then the level adjustment of Aerial Priestess also. And then 2 copies of Diviner of Herald. I like this card as just a send option in the deck, being able to send monsters from our extra deck to the graveyard to then give us those additional searches for those cards. If you didn't want to run Diviner of the Herald, it can always be a hand trap spot to run alongside our Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring spot in the deck also. For the spells, our newest spell is the Nekroz Divine Mirror. During the main phase, ritual summon 1 Nekroz ritual monster from your hand or banishment by tributing monsters from your hands or field, or sending Nekroz monsters from your extra deck to the graveyard whose total levels equal or exceed its level. And during your main phase, you can banish this card and 1 Nekroz monster from your graveyard to add 1 Nekroz spell from your deck to your hand. So added search power for the banish option with the spell as well. And then having the same added ritual options with some of our other Nekroz spells. But the big play is being able to tribute monsters from your hand or field, or sending them from your extra deck as well, which would be the setup we get with cards like Nekroz of Metaltron acting as that additional tribute. The other ritual spells include the 2 copies of Nekroz Mirror, being able to also banish options from the graveyard for the ritual play with this card, Kaleidoscope to use cards from the extra deck, and then being able to have the added ritual summon of a Nekroz monster from the graveyard in the form of using Nekroz Cycle. With the last of our spells being the 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. This card is just really good because, one, for fact, it can search out Nekroz of Brionac and then have that additional search off of Brionac to give us our needed ritual monster, and then also have the add back power for our ritual spell, which is the biggest weakness, obviously, with our newest one is Nekroz Divine Mirror is a quick play spell, not a ritual spell, so we sadly can't add it off of it, but that's also why we're running a 3 of count to always be able to see it in our hand, or we have the option with cards like Nekroz of Clazolis to be able to discard add a Nekroz spell or trap, so technically being still able to add Divine Mirror to our hand. And then the remaining cards for the main deck being 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just a hand trap spot alongside Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, and if you wanted to take out Diviner of Herald, the additional 2 monster card slots there, whether you want them to be Drone Lockbird, Nibiru, you name it. For the extra deck, I have 1 copy of Herald of the Arclight. I do want to run 2 additional copies. You can really make full use of all the copies of this card because it can be sent off of cards like Nekroz Kaleidoscope to go for our level 4 ritual play into cards like Nekroz of Unicorn. So 2 additional copies of this card. If I were to do so, you would drop down the additional spots for some of the Link monsters I'm running for 2 additional spots for this monster. Crimson Dragon, just because it's a level 12 monster, it could be any level 12 synchro for this spot. With our Nekroz of Kaleidoscope, it can be used to ritual summon multiple ritual monsters, as the card says. This card can be used to ritual summon a number of Nekroz ritual monsters, and then you have to tribute that monster. So then you can use Crimson Dragon to not only tribute for the level 8, but then also additionally the level 4, being our Nekroz of Unicorn for that added monster spot. So very useful when we can make use of that ritual play to be able to do so for both of those monsters, and then vice versa for the additional ones, because we also have the option with Nekroz of Metaltron and our level 3 Clazolis, all the different combos thanks to that level 12. The 1 Brionac for the Nekroz of Brionac ritual summon, Omega for the level 8 play, and then additional fusion monsters being the 2 Elder Entity for the send-off power. Once again, then of Diviner of the Herald, and the 1 Garura also. And then the Quintet Magician as just another level 12 option for the tribute, with our Link monsters being the 1 copy of SP Little Knight, 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 Coral Anemone, the 1 Area, the Water Charmer, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Goddess of the Closed World, which if you wanted to drop these 2 here as being the bigger Link monsters to add in the additional copies of Herald of the Arclight for that synchro spot. And then lastly, just the 1 Baguska. Since we run a good number of new level 4 main deck monsters, you can overlay them potentially just as more of a stall Xyz tactic against our opponent as well. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, our Amelia, like I said, sets up so much search power for our setup in the deck, but the bigger search power also comes in the form of our other Nekroz cards, with Brionac being a warrior monster along with Clazolis. If we search these cards out with Preparation of Rites, we can discard them off for the search for some of the needed cards, Divine Mirror being able to be searched off of the Clazolis, and then the preferred ritual monster off of our plays for those cards as well in the deck. Since we have the warrior monsters in the graveyard, we can then summon out our Amelia, Dance Priestess of Nekroz as well. And then if it's normal or special summon, being able to add a Nekroz ritual monster or 1 Nekroz spell from our deck to our hand. So we just have that additional search on top of everything else for the summon. So then we can use this card to grab 1 additional Nekroz monster, whether that card acts as the hand trap spot or not. We can then use our Divine Mirror to ritual summon a Nekroz ritual from our hand or banish by tributing monsters from your hand or field. So then we can tribute Amelia for the whole cost of our Metaltron, having that bigger boss monster set up on the field with the additional hand trap options for our other Nekroz monsters also to be able to use. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with the Monster Mayhem booster set. There's just so many decks with new added support that it makes it a lot of fun to be able to update each and every one of them. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.